This Sunday, I had the great pleasure of attending the joint pay-per-view between All Elite Wrestling and New Japan Pro Wrestling at Forbidden Door in Long Island, New York. It started off with the pre-show, and here's some clips from Mariah May versus Saraya. And the pre-show didn't really get too exciting until the last match of the pre-show where Mystico and the Lucha Brothers defeated LIJ. So here are some clips from that match. Once the main card started, the crowd was packed in and ready to go, and of course there was no better way to kick off the show than with MJF, Long Island's hometown hero. MJF used his typical scumbag tactics throughout the match, just like right here where he tricked Hechicero into shaking his hand before just straight up kicking him in the gut. MJF was eventually able to win the match, much to the crowd's delight, and that led right into the six-man tag, where the Elite faced Hiroshi Tanahashi and the Acclaimed. I'm not gonna lie, this match was not the most exciting match, except Okada's heel character work was amazing throughout this match, including this absolutely hilarious moment where Nick Jackson has the headphones on in the ring, and Okada's pretending to rap along. The Elite won that match, and that led right into the highly anticipated Bryan Danielson vs. Shingo Takagi match, which was also highly disappointing because fans expected these two to knock the hell out of each other. And while the match wasn't necessarily bad, it wasn't the 5-star classic that many fans expected it to be. The next three matches were relatively unnoteworthy, although Toni Storm did have this elaborate Statue of Liberty entrance, which was pretty cool. She won the match against Mina Shirakawa for the AEW Women's World title. That was also supposed to have Mariah May's love on the line in this love triangle of sorts, except they all happened to hug it out and also kiss it out at the end of the match. So Mariah May never had to choose between the two competitors. After that, Zack Sabre Jr. defeated Orange Cassidy in a match that was basically a bathroom break for the entire stadium. And after that, Katsuyori Shibata, Hook, and Samoa Joe teamed up to beat the Learning Tree team, which had Big Bill, Chris Jericho, and Jeff Cobb. And that match and the entrances were full of Chris Jericho just smiling and waving hi at the crowd, which was pretty funny. I couldn't forget the crowd liked to chant every single time Samoa Joe and Jeff Cobb collided. Next came the 6-way ladder match for the AEW TNT title, and this was an insane match with some crazy spots. And in the end, the scapegoat, Jack Perry, who was being targeted by everyone in this video clip, ended up walking out with the title, much to the chagrin of the entire AEW crowd. Next came the unification title match for the AEW TBS title and the New Japan Strong Women's title between Mercedes Moné and Stephanie Vaquer. Now, this wasn't too notable of a match, except for the fact that it actually got the crowd back into the show entirely off of F the Celtics chant in the middle of the match, which is quite funny because the crowd was mostly pro Mercedes Moné until the point in the match where somehow within the span of a minute, the entire crowd remembered that she was from Boston, and then the F the Celtics chant led into another F the Celtics chant, and then into an F the Red Sox chant. And by the end of all that, and by the end of all the booing from Mercedes Moné winning, the crowd was right back into the show after being tired for the previous few matches, and this return from Britt Baker absolutely blew the roof off the place. After that, the crowd came back to earth in this Jon Moxley vs. Tetsuya Naito match for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. It's a little bit sad to see how far the prestige of that title has fallen ever since it became the unification of the IWGP Heavyweight and Intercontinental title. And while this match wasn't horrible, it did not remind me of the IWGP Heavyweight Championship matches we used to have, although it did get a lot of good character work from Tetsuya Naito, like the spit right there and the Tranquilo pose right there, and then just playing his usual mind games with Jon Moxley. Naito won the match to get his belt back, and that led into the main event, which absolutely surpassed everyone's expectations, and certainly became an all-time favorite match of mine between Will Ospreay and Swerve Strickland for the AEW World Championship. Now, this match had some insane sequences and insane kickouts, including the last kickout by Will Ospreay, which absolutely caught me off guard. It was probably the only thing that caught me off guard completely this whole show. And just check out this beautiful sequence by Will Ospreay and Swerve Strickland. Just absolute masterpiece. And while not every single match lived up to the hype, I think that the main event alone and the excitement of that made the show absolutely worth it for everyone in the building. I had a great time being at this event. I had a great time making this video, recapping the event, and hopefully I'll be back at another wrestling event soon, making another report for you guys. Until then, with WFUV Sports, I'm Will Jing.